So welcome back, everybody, to our Elden Ring lore playthrough. As you can see, I was murdering crows again. I killed many a crow. I think I now have base stats to use everything in the entire game. Everything. All of it. Which means lots of levels. We're level 289. I don't believe I'll have to do any leveling up anytime soon. Or at all anymore. I think we're done with leveling up, like, entirely. We're done. I'll never have to kill 7 million crows again. I hope. So, a quick recap of what we did last time. We went over here to the capital city of Leyndell, and we cleaned house, made our way all the way to the foot of the Erd Tree at the Elden Throne. We beat up Morgott, who has been the staunch defender of the Erd Tree, preventing anyone from being able to, let alone enter Leyndell, but get anywhere near becoming Elden Lord, and we were able to defeat him, something even General Radahn couldn't pull off. But what we found was an impossible-to-pass barrier of thorns that the inner workings of the Erd Tree have got erected around them, so we cannot enter the Erd Tree in order to properly assess, repair, or whatever the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. So, our good friend Melina, who helped us out in our fight against Morgott, said that she now knows what her purpose is and what she is here to do. We must reach our way to the top of the mountains, find the profaned, ruinous flame of the giants, and then use that to burn our way into the Erd Tree. Sounds like a good plan to me. After all, everyone knows that trees won't completely and totally burn to nothingness if you light them on fire. So yeah, our plan is to go burn the tree. Seems like a fun plan for us. And I do believe that we will just hop right up to the Mountain of the Giants to start ourselves off. Does that mean we're going to do the entire Mountain of the Giants in one shot? No. We're just going to get there, and we're going to do a little bit there. Because there's still some stuff we haven't done here in Leyndell, and there's still some other stuff that we've left undone as well. Side quests, character quests, and whatnot. Like, for example, we haven't finished the Volcano Manor, but we know for a fact that all the way up here in the Mountains of the Giants, there is someone for us to hunt. So we have to go to the Mountains of the Giants in the first place in order to get ourselves further along in our Volcano Manor quests, and that's something I would like to do. By the way, I increased my stamina a little bit with the levels as well, which means I spent way longer killing crows than I would have liked to, just so that we can wear more clothes. Heavier clothes. Like, I can put this bull goat armor on if I want to, and this hat, and not be a heavy load. Do you like how the hat and the horns from the armor just clip through each other? Isn't it lovely? By the way, this door was completely impassable before, but now we're allowed to open it, and the place is completely coated in ash, and there's a bunch of misbegottens here in the royal capital. This part of it, at least. Now, how did these get in here? These undesirables. Gross. Historically, setting things on fire has never had consequences. You are correct. Everyone knows fire is something that we need to cleanse the filth from the world. That's all it does. That's all fire does. Oh, give me one sec. I did forget to open my little interactive map on the side. Sorry, guys. So give me just one moment. And I'll get that set up. Boop, boop, pop. And pop, and pop, and that, and that, and that, and that. I want to see those, these, that, those, and we're good. Let's just get it to where we are. And this is just to make sure that I don't miss stuff that otherwise I might very easily miss. You know what I mean? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, I didn't say set the stream on fire, chat. Just because I said fire helps things doesn't mean that you set the stream on fire. Damn you. Okay, and that should be all good now. All right, wonderful. Let's get it on. It's nice for poise to work to a certain degree in Elden Ring. It's not nearly as good as it was in the older games, but that's fine. I think in the older games, poise was too good. Elden Ring hits kind of that in-between of worthlessness that we had in stuff like Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and whatnot, where poise might as well just not exist at all. And being too good, where we had, like, in Dark Souls 1, flipping Havels and whatnot. I actually like what Elden Ring did with poise. Look, we've got a large misbegotten over here praying to this statue. Large misbegotten. And if you take a look at the statue, it is merely a cloaked warrior holding a sword. But whoever this person is holds some level of reverence for this misbegotten at the very least, if not more than that misbegotten. Kind of wish the effect was more gradual, so specific breakpoints weren't so necessary. That's fair. But like I said, it's still a massive, massive, massive improvement to what used to be the way the poise worked. Which was, it didn't. Or it was insanely good. Take that, lion. So you see a bunch of misbegotten here now praying to graves. In fact, that statue down there could have even been a grave for a great warrior at some point in time. You see that a perfumer is here hanging out with misbegottens, because if you recall, we had read before that there were some perfumers that spent their trying to help the misbegottens, who are considered dregs of society and disgusting. So possibly trying to cure the physical appearances of the misbegottens. Or at the very least to lessen the suffering that they might have. Ow. Fire. After all, the perfumers are apothecaries. And apothecaries are basically doctors. Ah! Nara Raid! Thank you, Nara Raiders, with your Sukus. Ow, I got headshot. Doesn't matter how much poison armor you have if you get headshot. still knocks you on your ass. Ow, my head. Okay, sir. Die. Anyway, Naro, thank you for the raid. Hello, Naro Raiders. How did your quiz show go after I had left? Did Naro crush it? Did he know all the Japanese trivia ever? I hope so. Notice these guys are completely absorbed in their own world. They're just here praying for the dead. This one's shaking in rage and sorrow. With only the most honest of save states, you won. Good to hear. Only the most honest of save states. Alright, now that I've cleared this direction a bit, let's go back down here and get the stuff that's down below. Dogs! Okay, you. Darn flying archers. Them dang-gum flying archers hitting me in the head and such.
Beep, 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 Biguretto. La la la, love, love, I.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Marcia Socks. Whoop. Welcome.
Beep, 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 Biguretto.
And Washer19, thank you as well. You have caught us a little bit in between lore, but we are getting into big Elden Ring lore soon. I just have to make my way through these areas and whatnot. Generic iron greatsword. I should have been here for yesterday's lore stream. It ended with big lore explanations. Chat was super impressed. They were all like, please, Mr. Lore Man, please tell us more. It's true. I would never lie or exaggerate about anything. Okay, I think I cleared out everything that was around here. I got them all. They have been pacified. Our Lord and Savior. I like that one. Nothing back here, right? By the way, I will every so often get a little bit lost going through Elden Ring looking for stuff. I know the main remembrance path and the speedrun path really, 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 really well. Anything beyond that, I'm like half blind on. Because I've seen it all at one point or another. It's just I haven't seen it 7 billion times. So if it's not that mainline path with all the remembrance bosses and whatnot on it, well, then I'm just a little bit lost here and there. Just a tiny bit. That's why I double-check stuff, and why I have a little interactive map next to me. Let's go up. So we go all the way up here to a place that probably hasn't seen a great deal of use. Hello there, Mr. Archer Man. You will die now. Flame Drake Talisman +1. Worthless. By the way, before we get to using it, let's take a look at that medallion that Melina gave to us. The Rolled Medallion. The conjoined split medallion depicting the Flame Peak. As you can see, it does have a depiction of like a long winding path that leads eventually to a flaming red jewel in the center of it. Brandishing this medallion activates the Grand Lift of Rolled, connecting Lindell to the mountaintops of the Giants. The Forge of the Flame of Ruin is said to be found upon their peaks, and it is here that Melina wishes to travel in resuming your journey together. We are at the capital outskirts. That guy on the horse is there to distract you from the fact that this guy with the bow's right over here waiting to ambush your ass. Boy, I need to upgrade that weapon. Back to my bonking hammer. Bonk. Bonk. Oh no! You're dead from that bonk. At least your horse is alive. Good horse. We will let the horse live. For now. Double check this side. Did I miss anything? Nope. Just making sure. That horse doesn't know what to do with itself anymore. That's right, run right to the wall. Bonk. Ah! It became huge! I wish I could tell you why this beetle becomes massive like that. As far as I can tell, there's no real reason for it other than because somebody thought it would be fun. Pretty sure. So as you can see, we got a pathway that goes that way, a pathway that goes this way. And actually, I do think I want to go this way. Because if you can't tell by the music, there's a divine tower over here. Darkness. Imprisoning me. The double twins! The two fell twins. get zapped. So yeah, this seems to be like a magic protection for this Divine Tower, is to have these two show up and transport the consciousness of the person, or perhaps the whole body, into this weird zone. By the way, notice that these omens have all of their horns on them. They haven't had them cut off. Now, why are they allowed to have their horns, but other omens aren't? Seems a bit unfair, doesn't it? You're on Stream 5, did you miss a lot of lore? Yes. If you're on Stream 5, you missed a ton of lore. We get Omen Killer Rollo, Spirit Ashes. Oh, I was hoping to find it before we dropped out of there. Hey, look! We just got teleported to the end of the bridge. Convenient, thank you. Hey, you know what? That's a double boss fight that isn't a problem, because one of them is so far away from the other that they never really group up together, and it's just two one-on-ones. That's a fine double boss fight. Alright, Omen Killer Rollo. Used to summon the spirit of Omen Killer Rollo. Known as the first Omen Killer. Once a famous perfumer, Rollo imbibed a physic to rid himself of emotion, thus enabling him to enact his nightmarish labor, hunting the Omen. It's nightmarish labor not because the Omen themselves are horrifying creatures, but because, reminder, the way that Omens are dealt with is when they are children, infants, toddlers. The Omen Killers show up and slice their horns off, which usually kills them. Hence why that guy felt he needed to use drugs to dull his emotions, because he wasn't too happy about slaughtering children. I wouldn't be too happy about that either. You know, the more we learn about the way that the world works under the Golden Order, the more I'm starting to think the Golden Order isn't particularly the best ruling force we could have, because holy shit. Is there just horrible atrocity stacked upon horrible atrocity? Behold, another slaughtered two fingers. I'm gonna take a seat. So, by the way, I like to think that for each of these two fingers by a great rune that has been killed, they were two fingers that sought out those who had the great runes and were killed by those who had the great runes because they did not want to be a part of the two fingers' religious ambitions and whatnot. And that's why you find the energizing force for the great runes there. Let's restore the power of the great rune we got from Morgott. Great rune of the Shardbearer Morgott. Its blessing greatly raises your maximum HP. This great rune is the anchor ring that houses the base and proves two things: that the Omen King was born of the Golden Lineage, and that he was indeed the Lord of Leyndell. So yeah, Morgott got arguably one of the most important great runes possible. He got the anchoring point, the housing point, the basis of the entirety of the Elden Ring. Without this, the Elden Ring could not be restored to any sort of functional point. And Morgott inherited it. Despite the fact that he's an Omen, despite the fact that he is considered a blasphemous existence by the Golden Order, which he sought to protect, he was chosen basically by the forces of the Great Runes themselves as worthy enough to become the next Elden Lord. Boop, 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 boop. This is a long walk back. This is a long walk back. By the way, I have not activated a Great Rune a single time, as in its effects. You have to use a rune arc to start the Great Rune effects and have them actively working, and I've never used a rune arc on this playthrough yet. That's because rune arcs are not infinite at all. Unless you're doing online play stuff. If you're doing online play stuff, then I believe you can refill your rune arcs. But shit, we're so incredibly over-leveled, I don't know if we'd be able to find anyone for online play. I mean, we're damn near level 300. Because that's the only way it's possible for you to use everything in the game is to be giga-leveled. Or to have literally no HP and stamina. That's also a possible solution. Do you not have an item near you? Okay, maybe it's out here. Could have sworn... that there was some items nearby. Anyway, if you'll notice, the Guidance of Grace is no longer golden when we see it here. It's kind of a more reddish hue flowing around up there. If that is even the Guidance of Grace at all. Drawstring fire grease. Visibility is kind of low. It's a little misty in this area. Look how shiny. Hey, look, a vulgar militiaman. You can tell because he's tiny. I missed. Smash! Hey, how come you have beast things? Did you talk with Garank as well? Cool. They also have Black Flame. What the hell's going on? Who taught you these things? They also have a bunch of Kukris. I'll take a bunch of Kukris. Kukris are very good throwables. In fact, I would say they're probably the best, like, throwing knife type item. They build up the most stagger and solid blood loss with it. Golden 7. Let me see. Ah, there it is. I was facing the wrong direction. Official's attire. And the Blade of Calling. Let's take a look at those. It's definitely not an ultra great sword. It's a regular straight sword. Never mind, it's a dagger. Dagger given to one who set out on a journey to fulfill her duty long ago. The power of its former owner, the Kindling Maiden, is still apparent. The one who walks alongside flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Unique skill, Blade of Gold. Leap into the air, charging the armament with golden flames that are then shot at the enemy as a single blade-like projectile. Inflicts holy damage. So, we haven't really talked about too much the late game. Holy damage is very good early game, and then it falls off insanely hard in the late game. Most of the bosses that we're going to face are going to be resistant in some way, shape, or form to holy damage. Unfortunately. We also got the official's attire. Should be here. Grubby blue robe worn by magisterial officials to carry out their grim tasks. Surveillance, executions, gruesome rituals, the darkest of duties drives the wheels of mankind. And you can tell that this was once the site of somebody important that used to dwell in this area while performing their duties. I don't want to drop. We'll just do that. But I think it's very interesting and telling that, again, the further that we get into these back channels of Lindell, the more skeletons in their closets, so to speak, we uncover. The Golden Order was doing a lot of heinous shit. A lot of just plain awful stuff. But the interesting thing is it talking about the Kindling Maiden. Kindling Maiden must be someone whose job it is to, well, kindle a fire, make sure that a fire is going. But who is said Kindling Maiden? And why does she have said job? Actually, what time of day is it? Early day? Shit. I'm gonna have to kill those guys again. It needs to be nighttime. There's some nighttime bosses in the area. Anyway, we've met one maiden who is going to be trying to kindle a flame for us. So maybe at some point in time it was Melina, or maybe Melina took up the mantle of Kindling Maiden at some point in time to perform that task. After all, she said that her body was burned away to ash, and that she doesn't even know why she's capable of manifesting herself, but she must have some sort of job to perform. So I like to think that at one point in time she sacrificed herself in order to kindle a flame, and now she is brought back in spirit form because of the Elden Ring being all busted and destroyed and the Golden Order falling to pieces, because, well, a flame needs to be kindled in order to... Oh, hey, there's the Knights Cavalryman. A flame needs to be kindled in order to solve some of the problems, such as how the hell do we get inside of the Erd Tree? Just let me blast you in the head with my hammer. Ow, you input reading bitch. Smash your head in with this hammer eventually. Or at least your horses. Whoop. Your horse is about to fall, and you'll fall with it. Never mind. Bad input read. Like the frame I started lifting up my flask of Crimson Tears, he leapt at me. The instant frame. Oh, the input reading is so egregious in this game. It's so obvious, too. They don't even try to hide it. My fault. My fault, my fault. Ow. All right, you. I just wish their movements weren't so hard to punish. Because of the weird way the horse moves them all the time. I guess it'd work better if I had a longer weapon. But I've already chosen the hammer. The hammer is love, the hammer is life. Whoop. Are you stuck there? No, 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 no. Don't get up on my account. Lay down. Put your feet up. Chill for a bit. There we go. Ash of War, Phantom Slash. This one's kind of cool. There it is. Skill inspired by the fond remembrances of the Knight's cavalry. Create an apparition of the Knight's former instructor who guides a joint lunging upward swing. Additional input allows for a follow-up attack, usable for polearms and twin blades. Like I said, that one's pretty cool, actually. Alright, we're heading north. Easternly, northeasternly. Hey look, Vulgar Militia traps. Let's get rid of them. Any others have been defeated. And deleted. By the shackle. There's so many vulgar militiamen here. But I have so little interest in fighting them. I have so little need to fight them, I guess is the accurate thing to say. Golden Seed. This is just a very long hill for us to climb with very low visibility, so... Don't worry about the vulgar militiamen. By the way, we can summon something. I hope you know what that means. I'm gonna summon me in attack mode. After all, I trust me. There it is. The Black Blade Kindred. Remember when we fought one of these in Caelid? It's kind of tough. Hence why I wanted to summon me. Gotta stay pretty high health, because this thing will absolutely two-shot me, even with my current level of HP. Go me! I knew I could count on me. We get the Gargoyles' Black Blades, that's the Twin Blade, and the Axe. They are going to say, I believe, the exact same thing that every other Gargoyle piece of equipment has said, but let's take a look at it anyway. Twin Blades, I guess, are a little further up, aren't they? Here's the Gargoyles' Black Axe. Bronze great axe wielded by valiant gargoyles, mended with blackened corpse wax, which makes it different from the normal corpse wax. Deals holy damage, such as the mark of those who serve Malekith, the Black Blade. Okay, so slightly different, because they're the black versions. Just says that they serve Malekith and they use black wax instead of normal wax. Simple. Minor difference. Hey, look, some nascent butterflies. How pretty. By the way, since we can't see anything here, because visibility is garbage, we are currently at the Lift of Rold. It looks just like the Grand Lift of Dectus. Just like it. But it's currently covered in fog as if this is Silent Hill or something. You know what? This is a better Silent Hill game than the last Silent Hill games we've gotten for 20 years, so fair enough. Elden Ring is my favorite Silent Hill game. Hey, look! A finger reader.
Your
Here, look at my hands.
back. Ahead lies the land of the giant's flame, and the way forth is forbidden. Hear me. The burning of the Earth Tree is the first cardinal sin. Doing so will unbind destined death and slay the world itself. Who would dare put you up to such a task? Most certainly not the fingers.
Very interesting. So she's saying that if we were to go forth and go get that Flame of Ruin and burn the Erd Tree, we'd be committing the first cardinal sin, the greatest sin possible according to the fingers, in burning the Erd Tree. Whether we burn it down completely or even just a little bit, I believe it would still be considered a great cardinal sin. And she says it's bad because it would result in destined death being unleashed upon the world. Reminder that way back when America attained the power of destined death, specifically from attained the power of destined death and then locked it away via Malekith, her blade, specifically from the glow-eyed queen. The black flames wielded by the apostles are channeled from this sword of the glow-eyed queen. The glow-eyed queen had the ability to slay gods, as in apply death to them. The glow-eyed queen more than likely had some level of destined death within her possession, even if it was a fragment of the rune of death. She still had it. Then when she was defeated by Malekith, under America's orders, sealed away destined death entirely, and then that initiated the Golden Order. Prior to that, it was just America acting out her desires for whatever she was doing with the Elden Ring, and maybe she was even ordered by the Two Fingers, who are supposed to be envoys of the Greater Will, to remove death from the equation and initiate a level of reincarnation and rebirth instead into the world. Or it could have been her own desire to do that. Either way, destined death has, for as long as America has been in power in the Golden Order, completely has been locked away and has not been accessible. People have not been dying. At most, they've been reincarnating, which seems to be perfectly fine for people up to a point. And it might even have something to do with how they get reincarnated, how long it takes for their spirits to suffuse to a new body. Because we're seeing a lot of people that are hollowing out now. We went from people dying and reincarnating and that being fine to now people coming back, but they're coming back probably immediately, the way that we do. The second that we perish and our body gets reconstituted at a site of grace. And because that's happening, and because these people are unable to fulfill their ambitions and are being slaughtered over and over again, more than likely that's been causing some repercussions. The repercussions being people hollowing out and losing, if it works the exact same way as, say, Dark Souls, losing their ambition, losing their desire to achieve things because they feel like it's just impossible. And after year after year after year after year of doing that, they just stop. They stop thinking, they stop wanting, they just want to die. Like when we found that large group of people all the way back in Limgrave at Agheel Lake, praying to the sky for the dragon to come by and burn them to nothingness and hope that that would give them a level of permanent death, that a dragon at least would be capable of doing such a thing. It's the exact same thing. They no longer want to even try to live. Whether they fulfilled their ambitions already and can't find a reason to live, or they found it impossible to do so, or just the state of the world is so depressing for them that they no longer have a desire to continue on. At the end of the day, those people want an end. They want there to be a conclusion to their story. Or at the very least, to have a conclusion that lasts long enough that they forget their existence and then can reset into a completely new one. Because that might have happened during the reincarnation phase. We don't know how long people were in the Erd Tree before their spirits were reconstituted into a new body. It could have been, decades, centuries, to the point where the spirit could be almost recycled and washed clean, and then a new spirit or a new body houses the spirit, so it still has the same level of, say, knightliness if they were a knight, or nobleness if they were a noble, stuff like that. But it's been given a chance to wash itself clean and get a new start. But that doesn't happen anymore. Now there's no time off, there's no new start, there's just You get the pain of death, and you're right back. Do it again. Hopefully you don't die this time. Anyway, Mountaintops of the Giants. The marching grounds during the war against the Giants. They carved winding paths into the cliff walls right up to the summit, leading to the untrodden, snow-laden region beyond, the western part of the Mountaintops of the Giants. And here we go, we've got this area. And as you can see, it's kind of a small strip. In case you're wondering, by the way, notice how much more map we've unlocked the second that we went to the Mountaintops of the Giants. Before, it looked like we could go maybe this far. And now the map's like, no, zoom out. This is one thing that has always been just kind of insane with Elden Ring, is the map slowly but surely zooming out the further you get into the game. At first, the map looks kind of like most of Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula, a bit of that. And then it zooms out as you get into Liurnia, and you're like, oh, okay, so there's also this much more. And then it zooms out as you get into Caelid, and you're like, okay, there's stuff in the east. And then when you get to the Altus Plateau, it zooms out some more, and then it shows about this much. And now that we're getting into the Mountaintops of Giants, it zoomed out more. The map just keeps zooming out. There's more. Every time you think you're done, there's more, there's more, there's more. That is just Elden Ring for you. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and activate this Lost Grace. We will even take a seat. And look, we are at the Zamor ruins. We've read a little bit about Zamor with some of our items. Not much, but they were part of the war. Hey, wait a second. Yura? It's Yura. Hey, chat. Last time we saw Yura was in the Altus Plateau, and it was at the Second Church of America. He was lying in a puddle of his own blood, dying, because Eleonora, who he tried to hunt down and either convince to stop hunting other Tarnished and working for the Lord of Blood, or try to put her down because he felt that she was bringing shame to herself and that she was being controlled. Anyway, Yura was dead as fuck. Yura, what are you doing here? How are you alive?
Finally, we meet the Tarnished, who would be Lord. Oh my. Why the long face? I fear that you were previously acquainted with this vessel. Well, that is most unfortunate. For he is dead. As for his flesh, he gave it to me. Shabriri, I hope you can make your peace with that.
Hey! Guess what? Yura's gone. Spirit has left the body, and the body has been taken over by a different spirit. Now, Shabriri, that's a name that's a little familiar. Where do we know that from? Shabriri's woe, disturbing likeness of a man whose eyes have been gouged out. The corners of his mouth are upturned in an almost flirtatious manner, constantly attract enemies' aggression. It is said that the man named Shabriri had his eyes gouged out as punishment for the crime of slander, and with time, the blight of the flame of frenzy came to dwell in the empty sockets. The flame of frenzy caused the yellow flame of frenzy to burst forth from the caster's eyes, originating from the maddening three fingers. In times past, every single person who attempted to control the flame of frenzy succumbed to madness after a desperate internal struggle. It is said that the sickness of the flame of frenzy began with Shabriri, the most reviled man in all history. So, hey, this is important for two reasons. Number one, Shabriri hasn't died. His spirit, his body may have perished, and he may not have been able to reconstitute his body anymore, but his spirit lives on, looking for new vessels every so often, especially if he catches wind of something interesting, like a Tarnished that is currently on the path to become Elden Lord. Number 2, it shows that different spirits can inhabit already existing vessels. Remember when we were talking about Hyetta, and about how she looks exactly like the young noble lady Irina, and how she has the exact same affliction as the young noble lady Irina, and that she was mostly blind from the day that she was born, and how she no longer has any family, just like the young noble lady Irina before she was killed. That's right, this whole time, Hyetta was probably a spirit that took over that body after Irina died. Instead of her reconstituting properly, her spirit left the body, and a different spirit moved in. Perhaps even the different spirit kicked the old spirit out. In fact, that's probably what happened with Shabriri and our friend Yura. So yes, it wasn't just a coincidence. It wasn't just that they used to be the same person in the old days and then changed during game development. That was me leading you away, chat. I hope I tricked you. The whole time, it was instead that Hyetta was a different spirit with some similarity, with some ability to take over a vessel, much like Shabriri has with Yura. Hyetta, on the other hand, might not have even known that she did it. In fact, Shabriri might have been the one that inserted Hyetta into Irina. Hyetta might have always been the spirit of a woman, a maiden that wanted to be, that thought she could be a finger maiden, but always had that spark of sight in the back of her head. Or she might have been had the ability to become a finger maiden, and Shabriri was the first one to give her some Shabriri's grapes. And once that started the domino effect of the rest of the followers of the Flame of Frenzy, the people that had gone mad and dug their own eyes out to give them to Hyetta, then her fate was already sealed as one who is going to be directed towards the maddening Three Fingers. Anyway, Shabriri, let's talk. What do you want from me?
You were about to sacrifice something precious, the life of a fair maiden, that you would toss into the fiery forge, only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice, whether she wishes it or not. But how would the Lord, crowned so, be looked upon?
So he's given us the heads up. Our maiden, Melina, is going to sacrifice herself for us. It is necessary for us to attempt to become Elden Lord.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be Lord, dare to tread the path of true rigor. Spare the poor girl, and singe your own flesh in her stead. If you are prepared to show resolve, and attain lordship through righteous hardship, then heed the words of I, Shabriri.
And he offers us an alternative. To burn our own flesh. To sacrifice a bit of ourselves rather than our maiden.
Chosen, tarnished, and would ascend into the depths far below the Erdtree capital. Seek audience with the Three Fingers and the Flame of Frenzy. If you inherit the Flame of Frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. May chaos take the world!
Now, I gotta say, you were pretty convincing until you started raving like a madman, shouting, "May chaos take the world." It was a pretty good and convincing argument. Take the path of true hardship, the path of rigor. Become a righteous lord. Do not sacrifice an innocent to sit upon the throne. Sacrifice a piece of yourself instead. And then he called us the Lord of Chaos and said, and shouted, "May chaos take the world." And his really eloquent and well pieced together argument kind of falls a little bit apart. A little bit more into madness.
Chosen tarnished, descend and seek audience with the three.
But he does tell us something, and that is an area of the game that I have purposefully avoided, that there is something in the depths below the capital of Leyndell, housing the maddening Three Fingers and the Flame of Frenzy. And he tells us to go find it, to seek it out. We'll think about that. That's an awful lot to think about when you get right down to it. Because not only has he proven that different spirits can house themselves in different bodies, and basically proven that Hyetta was not just looking like Irina, but instead she was taking Irina's body for a spin, whether she knows it or not. But also that the Flame of Frenzy was apparently at some point found and locked away deep, deep underground by the Golden Order. Hey, look! We've seen these things before. We even fought one in an Everjail. This is a warrior of Zamor. They're pretty tall, lanky bastards, aren't they? But they also spit out lots of ice and use very floaty movements with their curved swords. These are the Zamor ruins. Makes sense that we would find warriors of Zamor here. Ooh, a little chilly out here, isn't it? Oh, there's two of them. All right, you. Damn, you're faster than my hammer. Very floaty movements from these guys. Stop that, you. Just let me kill you. It's fine. There you go. Just let it happen. Accept the hammer into your chest. Two of them patrolling around here. So despite the fact that this former village is now completely in ruins... Oh, thank you, Doom Songs. Despite the fact that this village is now completely in ruins, we do still have former citizens of Zamor, warriors of Zamor, kind of protecting the area from intruders, such as myself, and holy shit, they deal damage. Three of you is a bit much. Okay, that's perfect. Oh, it's not perfect. I didn't know the other one was already jumping at me. Fortunately, it takes a really big hit to knock these guys into a stagger. It took normal hits with my hammer, which is a high stagger weapon instead of a jumping R2. Then the fights would be fine. Sit. Stay. Play dead. Good boy. More innocent butterflies. Wow, okay. The lightning did not slow it down at all. Boo. I was hoping the lightning would stagger it. Clearly it did not. Alright, well, we're not gonna try fighting them now. We're just gonna run right by and, get down here. Unless one of you tries to follow me down here. If you would try to follow me down here, then I'll kill you. Because down here we have a Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 3. Yay! That means we can buy more upgrade mats. Higher tier upgrade mats. That's a very good item to get. And we get the Zamor Ice Storm spell, which we'll look at in a sec. Okay, we should be safe in this spot. Alright, Zamor Ice Swirl. Strike the ground with a staff to create a freezing tornado. Cloaked in icy tempest, the Knights of Zamor have challenged the fire giants since ancient times. So yeah, the Zamorians, which I guess is the best name we could give to them, have been fighting with the fire giants forever, basically. Considering they live on the same snowy mountain, not too surprising. That's just how things happen, how they shake out, usually. Stop getting stuck. Make the jump torrent. Nothing up here? Okay. I just wanted to double check. Bird! There's a pretty bird. Okay, there should be a Zamor weapon for us up here, I think. Maybe it's all the way up. Ow. Ow, screw you, bird. Piece of shit. Alright. If you want to die so bad, I can make that happen. Why is it so insanely good at dodging? There we go. I finally got it. Sheesh. Freaking bird. Hey, look. Hanging from a branch. How cute. Our designated director of death here. Oh my god. No, I refuse to accept that. My the camera swapped so aggressively, got me to start falling. I like how you're not, like, pointing anywhere for me. There you go. Took you a while. It's pointing up that way. Remember, quitting out isn't cheating. It's being quick on the controls. Please, leave me alone, bird. You things do way too much damage and are way too annoying to catch, to fight. Like, we got that. Okay, I think that the thing that's being pointed at by that guy should be near the bridge that we were at with the monks. Oh, I guess it's down there. Yeah, that's got to be it. First, let me hammer this fire monk to death because it deserves it. Yeah, here we go. I'm sorry. My brain was not working. Let's put the scaled armor on. The beast eye quivers. You know what that means, guys? That means that we're going to be seeing a lot of skeletons and whatnot. Wait, hold on. Talk to Melina.
There is something I'd like to say. My purpose was given to me by my mother, but now I act of my own volition. I have set my heart upon the world that I would have, regardless of my mother's designs. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of that, not even you.
Interesting that we get that dialogue from her right after Shibruri tells us, hey man, wouldn't it be awful if you were to let your maiden kill herself? She's specifically saying that she's doing this of her own volition. Nobody's gonna force her. She made her choice. Shibruri is wrong on this one.
Well, I took you for no matter to lay out your own.
Anyway, before we go into that catacombs, I'm gonna make the scythe stronger. because we've been using the scythe for the catacombs. And because we defeated Morgott, let's see if maybe Nephili Lu has something to say.
In this ash, it reminds me of my... In this ash, it reminds
She got
me of...
fucking nothing to say. Still.
Greetings, are you here for spit?
Come on, somebody has to congratulate us for defeating Morgott. Gideon.
You. What is it?
Unlocated demigods.
There are 4 more demigods yet to be located. Mikola of the Halig Tree, the Unalloyed, his twin, Melania, the undefeated swordswoman, Luna Princess Rani, daughter to Renala, and the one only known as the Lord of Blood. Rani is said to have cast aside her great rune, so here at the Hold, we seek the whereabouts of the remaining 3 shard bearers. If you should learn anything of these matters, I'll trade your findings for a hidden treasure or a long-lost right, known only to me. We both desire to stand before the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. As such, I hope we are compelled to work together.
So there you go. Gideon wants to know the location of the 3 other shard bearers. He would have liked to know where Rani is, but she gave up her great rune, so he doesn't really care about her anymore.
Find the Albinoric woman.
Done.
She hides in a cave, so she knows the look.
Mogwin Palace.
Oh, so that's where the so-called Lord of Blood was hiding himself, eh? A fitting little squat for that deluded maniac to bleat about the revival of his precious dynasty. While he turns our fella Tarnished into bloody fingers, let him stay there. That way, his delusions will remain as they are, distant and unattainable. But perhaps it's worth looking into. If what I've heard is right, then maybe... Ah, my apologies. Lost myself for a moment there. The information you shared is of great value. As promised.
Thank
The
you!
reward.
Oh, thank you
And
for the
it is a
reward.
wondrous thing indeed. You are a true fellow. All I ask is that you remain constant.
Fever's Cookbook. Thank you for the resub. 67 months, Pop-Tar Raptor. So hey, that cookbook he gave us lets us make bewitching branches. A record of crafting technique left by a man who was utterly captivated by Saint Trina. He continued to search for her in her slumber. Reminder, Saint Trina has been closely linked with sleeping and has only tended to show up in people's dreams. Hence why he uses those St. Trina's lilies to create concoctions to help him sleep. To try and search for her. Or him. Them.
No. Wait. You have felt the curse. I can smell it on you. The box, yet tender. Apparently my seedbed is ripe and waiting. 'Twas a brief respite, I must say. Go and unshackle my corporeal flesh, trapped in the sewer jail below the capital.
Sewer jail key.
I can kill you and defile your corpse. Then the pox will truly be your own.
Oh boy, he can defile our corpse. How alluring.
Go and unshackle my corporeal flesh, trapped in the sewer. I can kill you, and then the pox will...
That's what he's offering for us if we set him free from jail, is to kill us. And then defile our corpse. That sounds lovely. Crazy as it's been 15 years since college? Close to it, yeah. I don't think it's been quite that long.
Well, you managed to return.
You know what this means. The Earth Tree has spurned you. The fingers remain still, shaken by this turn of events. They are busy consulting the greater will. When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me, but you. How will you ever manage the weight? My, oh my.
What if I want to burn the impenetrable thorns?
Heavens forbid. That is not the domain of mere men. The burning of the Earth Tree is the first cardinal sin. And you say you seek the power of the Rune of Death too? The Rune of Death goes by two names. The other is Destined Death. The forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation. Unleashing the rune now would be unthinkable. The fingers would never permit it. Nor would the greater will. But here we are. The fingers dormant, severing our link to the greater will. The realm and all life in ruins. Impossible events transpire beyond the ken of the fingers. Who is to say that the cardinal sin must be cardinal forever? Go on. Finish the job. Take the course you deem most worthy.
So, let's talk a little bit about this. First off, Finger Reader Enya tells us that it would be an absolute cardinal sin to burn the Erd Tree. Even just burning away the thorns to get to the inside of it. She says the fingers would never allow it. And then goes on afterwards to say, nor would the greater will. She puts more emphasis on the fingers than anything else. The fingers are only supposed to be essentially communication conduits. They're vassals of the greater will. They're supposed to communicate with the greater will and then take what the greater will says and give it to us. However, that's a bit of a problem in a couple ways. Number one is that the fingers could lie about anything. The finger readers are yet another middleman that has to be, that has to do the interpretations. They could also get things slightly wrong. And number two is the amount of reverence given to the fingers is a lot more than the reverence given to the greater will, despite the greater will supposedly being the head honcho, the great outer god being that has given all these blessings of gold, the Erd Tree, the fingers, etc., to the lands between in the first place. If anything, that should be the entity that is given so much reverence and respect to. Instead, it's the fingers. Which makes me think the fingers don't necessarily always know exactly what the greater will wants, or don't necessarily always communicate exactly what the greater will wants. Instead, the fingers communicate what the fingers want a little bit more. And beyond that, remember when we talked way back when we first got our transportation to the Mogwin Dynasty? And we were talking with White Mask Vare, and he told us that the fingers are old and decrepit with their communications with the greater will taking longer and being less believable over time. Essentially thinking that the fingers are either unable to communicate with the greater will anymore, or not necessarily communicating exactly what the greater will tells them. It's possible by now that the greater will just has nothing to do with what goes on in the lands between anymore. The greater will might have moved on long, long, long ago, Enya told us that it would take thousands or tens of thousands of moon for the fingers to contact the Greater Will and then bring back information. Despite them supposedly being capable of basically picking up a cell phone, being like, "Hey boss, here's a situation, what should we do?" She says it could take tens of thousands of moons, of months essentially, like hundreds of years before they get a response. Which says to me, the fingers, old and decrepit, have probably been abandoned by the Greater Will. The Greater Will probably has no will anymore in the lands between. Whatever the Greater Will said hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago was the last contact actually made with it. And from that point forward, it's been the fingers that have been interpreting what they think the Greater Will might want, or what the fingers themselves might want instead. But now that now that the shit has hit the fan in such a fantastic way, these fingers are probably trying desperately, a last desperate attempt to get into contact with the Greater Will, and they've gone completely motionless. They're unable to. And as far as Enya knows, they may not contact the Greater Will for hundreds of years, if not more. And she's seen the state of the world, the state of everything, the state of how things have been playing out for the past however many years since the Shattering. Could be a couple hundred years or so. And she's seen dilapidated buildings, ruins of once great civilizations, ruins of once great peoples that have fallen into just desecration over the years. She sees a land that has slowly but surely been decaying over time. And the fact that the fingers may not get some sort of answer on what to do about this for hundreds of years, she's at the point where she thinks maybe it's time for a new age. Maybe it's time for things to burn. Maybe the Erd Tree has run its course. It had a good course. It had a long time, but maybe it's time to change. How do we burn those thorns?
You must find kindling. Only the smoldering flame in the great forge of the giants on the highest peak in the lands between can burn the Erd Tree. But special kindling is required to reignite the flame. For the flame to burn the Erd Tree, a sacrifice is needed of one who envisions the flame and can lead you to the rune of death.
So we need someone that can envision the flame, that can lead us to the rune of death to sacrifice themselves. We have a maiden who first introduced herself not as a proper finger maiden, but as one who can play the part of maiden, and has been joining us on this journey to get to the Erd Tree because she has a job to do. She didn't know what it was, but she knew she had a job to do. A woman who originally lost her body to being burned away to ash, as she says, and now is more a spirit than anything. Basically, this is essentially saying that it is Melena's destiny to act as kindling to reignite that flame of ruin that the giants have kept smoldering for however long in order to burn the Erd Tree. That seems to be Melena's entire purpose in being here. Now then, while we're here, we can buy the Fell Omen cloak. A cloak of ragged fur worn about the exposed body of Margit, the Fell Omen. Having slaughtered countless champions during the Shattering, the Fell Omen has become a horror to those who harbor ambitions for the Erd Tree or for lordship. Like I said before, Morgott, or as he was known, as he went by the moniker of Margit, was specifically hunting down Tarnished, or those who were trying to become lords and trying to kill them. Slaughtered countless champions during the Shattering as well. As for what we can get from Morgott, we can get two things. We can get Morgott's Cursed Sword, A curved greatsword, warped blade of shifting hue used by Morgoth the Omen King. The cursed blood that Morgoth recanted and sealed away reformed into this blade. With its unique skill, the Cursed Blood Slice. Brace and then charge forward to deliver a downward diagonal slice. The bloody trail of the blade is followed by a burst of flame. Additional input allows for a follow-up attack. Morgoth's cursed blood manifests itself in Blood Flame. Now, there's a Lord of Blood we know about, and there's Blood Flame incantations we know about that seem to do the exact same thing as that. Interesting. And we've also got the Regal Omen Bairn. Doll of a curse-born bairn from the Erd Tree's royal line. Use FP to unleash many wraiths that chase down foes. Omen babies born of royalty do not have their horns excised, but instead are kept underground unbeknownst to anyone, imprisoned for eternity. These memorial fetishes are fashioned in secret. Now, it says born of royalty, but I think this is supposed to be born of nobility instead of royalty. Because we see every so often, it's rare, but we do see another omen here and there that has their horns and have not had their horns carved off their bodies. So I would say it was nobility rather than royalty itself that determined whether or not your omen child gets slaughtered as an infant, basically. Or, you know, roll the dice on getting slaughtered or barely surviving. And also, I love how you see a little bit more hypocrisy. If your omen baby that is born is one of a high-class standing, well, we can't just kill them. That would be uncouth. Instead, we'll throw them in an eternal jail underground. That's much better. At least they get to live, I guess, you know?
Now go forth.
Could be worse. Who doesn't love blatant hypocrisy, am I right? Anyway, that gave us a fair little bit of more lore for us to ponder over here and there. Giant's Mountaintop Catacombs. There is Deathroot in here. We know there's Deathroot in here. How do we know? Because our beast eye quivered. Quivered in anticipation. Wait a second. Aren't I supposed to be finding skeletons in here instead of you guys? I mean, if all I'm finding is you guys, we're gonna swap from the scythe then, and we'll grab something heavier. Great Horn Hammer's fine. Let's put on Morgoth's cloak. I'm sorry, Margit's cloak. There we go. Hi there, you're a trap. You are the exact same trap that happens with these enemies every time. One displayed right in front of you while one hides around the corner. It's a good trick, but you can't do it too much. Or else it's expected. Then it doesn't work anymore. Nothing on the walls. And yeah, it's kind of surprising that Enya is like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead, burn the tree. Fuck it. Shit's gone sideways and I'm old. Just burn that tree. Go ahead. Dude, that throwing knife does way too much damage. Why is your throwing knife hitting so hard? Quit it. Sheesh. Sheesh. Bones. Ah, shoot, I missed it. Nothing? Huh. But there is the downstairs that this will lead us to. First, we'll clear out this area a little bit. There's our door. Magic pot throwers. No, you don't. Trying to show her a piece that you think you get in 30 minutes? Nah. I don't think that the Elden pizza slingers are that good at their customer service. Anything below this one? Nope. And it won't be free even if it isn't 30 minutes or less. Do pizza places even still do that? 30 minutes or less, or it's free. I don't think so anymore. Whoa, big pot. Remember, these living jars are stuffed with the corpses and bodies and experience of great warriors. And that's supposed to make them tougher and whatnot. Fortunately for them, their warriors weren't great enough. Every time you kill one living jar, it's like killing 30 warriors. Let's not step on that trap. Still charge you 40 bucks for a small... Oh, no! The Elden pizza service makes me sad. Sliced. Are you not a trap? Huh. Just an ordinary jar shard. Ordinary little living jar. Incentivize reckless driving? That's fair. Ow, that hurts. That hurts a lot. The other thing, I assume that would incentivize the whole your pizza in 30 minutes or less would be having already made pizzas sitting under heat lamps for a long-ass time. And then you just get lower quality pizza. Ritual pot. What's down here? We've got a nascent butterfly. That's it. Looks like that's it. Where the skeletons at? For some reason, not in this, For some reason, not in this particular dungeon. You would think there would be skeletons. Oop. Am I just backtracking? No, it just looks exactly the same as where we were before. But it is new. I really don't want to get sliced by one of these, because I believe it'll just insta-kill me. I don't know why I cornered myself there like an idiot. More grave glovewort. An 8 this time, that's nice. Hey, look, it looks exactly the same again. It's supposed to make you think you're going in circles, except there's a huge bitch here. Holy fuck, it one-shot me from 80%? No way. No way, dude. It like wiggled a little bit and did that much damage. Are you kidding? Come on. That's some shit right there. Boy, if they follow me, they're gonna fall to their deaths. Did I mention that enemies in Elden Ring do way too much fucking damage? Did I happen to mention that at any point in time in this playthrough? Ow. I was in the middle of turning that on. Not a big deal. I'll just eat that hit. Fuck it. And that one too, apparently. Wasn't planning on eating the second hit on purpose. Fire damage make them explode immediately? Yes, yes it does. This is where that big one is, and then we drop down here. Then we drop down here. And some explodey jars are here that want to explode. What if I went up here? Where does this take me? Because we didn't go this way last time. Oh, hi there. Don't think you can pretend. I mean, you can pretend. It's just not going to work. Oh, look! Oh god, he came down the steps. I didn't think he could. I knew I heard more little fucking footsteps. Bro, I couldn't get past it. That was awful. All my runes gone. Rip. Oh well. I'll get plenty more. The fact that I couldn't go through him, and the fact that for some reason the hitbox on its ice breath lingers so damn much that I was taking hits really sucks. Even while rolling through it, I was still getting hit by it because of massive lingering hitboxes. I'm gonna go down first this time. Then I'll go back to where I was going before. Because there's stuff to grab. Oh my god, another fucking cat statue. I know they're called watchdogs, but they look like cats. Hi there. Yeah, you kill that. Thank you. Oh, that's what happens. It leaves some mist around. That's why I was taking hits. One, two, three. Okay, you weren't supposed to do that. Okay. Cat defeated. Yeah. Ah! I must have accidentally activated that when I used that shackle before. Not what I wanted. Obviously. One on either side. Hiya! Look, one of us is eventually going to hit a jumping attack, and it was the one there. Here, I'll put big-ass armor on, and we'll still take insane damage. And the big-ass armor isn't going to matter at all. But I'll put it on. At least I'll have poise, I guess. Oh, look! I was expecting that follow-up. Big spin. Okay. Open. And in this treasure chest, we get the fire monk ashes. Spirit of a stout monk who monitored the giant's flame, versed in fire incantations, and himself steeled against fire. Though he was charged with keeping watch over the flame, after many years of solemn duty, he has succumbed to its allure. Hiccups. So yeah, originally the fire monks were supposed to just keep an eye on the flame, make sure it doesn't get reignited, etc. But over time, they're like, that flame's kind of a baddie, you know? What if we worship that flame instead of this garbage Golden Order stuff? And everyone was really on board with that. That flame keeps looking at me like that, it's gonna wind up pregnant. That's exactly how they were thinking of things. Oh. Ah! My body. The big-ass armor that I have, it does nothing. Seriously, man, biggest complaint I have about Elden Ring is that armor feels like it does very little to mitigate damage. You want damage mitigation? Put a shield up. And even then, it'll give you only so much. But what if I don't want to use a shield? What if I'm allergic to shields? Get them squats in. I know I say this is Elden Ring lore, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot of lore lately, but sometimes some dungeons just be loreless. Mostly. Gotta be one more of you nerds hiding around here, isn't there? Maybe not. Partly wanted to emphasize the superiority of running naked. Well, I understand that ever since Dark Souls 1, where big-ass armor was way too good, they wanted to make big-ass armor less good. In some way, shape, or form. Whether it be by making poise less good, or making the defense less good. I understand the appeal for why do it, but some aspects, depending on the game, feel like they got nerfed too much. Poise too much in games like Dark Souls 3, where you can wear a piece of big-ass armor and a fucking dagger staggers you. So what's the point of the big-ass armor? And then defense in games like this one, where I can wear this big-ass armor and it does very little for damage mitigation. It at least gave me some poise, but the difference between the amount of mitigated damage if I'm wearing this and if I'm wearing some cloth rags is too small, in my opinion, for how much heavier the armor is. And I like big, heavy armor just for the, like, fashion of it. I like the look of the big, heavy armor. Okay, I'm not going to need to go that way again, so we're just going to put that up. I could drop down below into that jar area, but we'll do that later. For now, we're going to go this way to where the extra giant monster is. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage, even with my big-ass armor. That's like 60%. exposed. Thank you. I guess in this case it would be critical. Oh, it's gonna go back this way. Mm-hmm. And then that way. And then this way. And then to the sides. And I understand you can't make armor as good as it would be in real life. It can't be 100% one-to-one. Because otherwise, that would turn many, 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 many weapons completely and totally useless. Like, what's a dagger going to do against most armor? Not a lot. Not all armor. Some armor. Like fluted plate mail, for example. The dagger has a chance to do some stuff because it can slip in between the connections. Alright, here we go. Now it's time to go down here. Jar! Ow. There is some stuff down there as well that I can check out. Yeah, that's the thing. I want them... I want to at least have things be worth what the requirements are. There we go. By the way, in case you're wondering where we are, we have been here before. I believe we need to go back up to go to the door. I'll take a quick swing around the area. But this is that very first part of the dungeon where this living jar like drops on you from above, doing its little spinny attack. So yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to go back up, like I thought. What's a dagger gonna do to Radon? Tickle him? Well, let me just put it out there that if you use a dagger against Radon, you are tickling him. It does work like that in the game. Anyway, gameplay conventions do demand that some things be a little unrealistic. But, like, for example, this armor. This armor, which puts me at 59.8 equip load. If I wear something that is, you know, much lighter than it, and I'm still getting more than half of the, or close to half of the effectiveness of it, with like some lighter armor that we've got, like say the marionette soldier armor, that's kind of ridiculous. I shouldn't be getting anywhere near that level of, oh great, it's you, protection. Hold on, let me just change my weapon. There we go. I want the fire weapon. This is also rated Tree Spirit, what, 10? And it's not even the last one, either. Oh, that is not the attack I thought was happening. Owie. We got some blood loss on it. That's nice. Finish him. Golden Seed and a Glovewort Picker's Bell Bearing 2, which means we get to buy Ash of Spirit Ash upgrades, and of course, a Death Root. Yay! Boy, that's a big dungeon. That's a pretty good design dungeon though, because it's very different from a lot of the other dungeons in the way that you have to navigate it, which is nice. It's nice to have some uniqueness to the dungeons here and there. Okay, now I'm going to compare things just a little bit myself. Okay, I lose barely any physical damage negation going from the heaviest set in the game, which is a lot heavier than the Radon set, to the Radon set. Like, again, we're going from 7.5 to 11.3 on the helm, 17.5 to 26.5 on the armor, 5.8 to 8.8 on the gloves, and 10.8 to 16.4. So we're just losing a bit of poise, and if you hit good enough poise, it doesn't even have to be great poise, just good enough poise, then you really don't need all that extra weight on you. Guess what I'm trying to say is that the armor isn't very well balanced. I wish it was balanced just a tad better. Briars of Punishment. New spell. We haven't gotten a Briar spell in a very long time. And that's for a simple reason. There are only 2 Briar spells in the entire game. Briars of Sin, Briars of Punishment. An aberrant sorcery discovered by exiled criminals. Theirs are the sorceries most reviled by the Academy. Wounds the caster with thorns of punishment, sending a trail of blood thorns running around the ground to impale enemies from below. The guilty, their eyes gouged by thorns, lived in eternal darkness. There they discovered the Blood Star. Hey, guess what? That implies yet another outer god existence. The Blood Star, or something similar to it. It might be the same thing as the, what the Mogwin dynasty is worshipping, but it would be having a different name if it is the same thing. That's a big whip. That's a huge bitch with a huge whip. You were about to explode your head. Killed it too fast, though. No head explosions for you. Hi, friend. Die, friend. Does that fall to its doom? Yeah, cool. That refilled most of my flasks. That's nice. Okay, how do I get to the other dungeon? Stop killing everything in sight? No. No. No, no, no. I think I might have to circle around to get to this one, if I remember right. Because there is another dungeon here. You can see there's a grave site there, and there's a dungeon there. I think this is one where I have to circle around from up above. Time to cross this extremely long, thin bridge. I sure do hope that nothing tries to hurt me while I cross this long bridge and am very vulnerable to getting hurt and possibly falling to my doom. Sure, it would be unfortunate if something tried to hurt me. But nothing would ever try to hurt me, right? Hey, look, there's a guy out there with a huge bow. Surely he wouldn't aim at me and try to shoot me, right? Hey. That was almost aimed at me. Oh, that was a good hit. All right, you. That was very rude. On your knees. I'm the new Elden Lord. Some golems, great arrows. That's what they shoot at us. We'll take a quick look at them. There we go. Great arrow of black stone crafted by a civilization now gone to ruin, used by the guardian golem. This hefty arrow is enrobed in tempestuous winds, allowing it to break enemy stances and guards with ease. That's what happened when it hit me, and I went dong and fell down. So, crafted by a civilization now gone to ruin. Does that mean the guardian golems aren't creations of any civilization that currently exists, instead are ancient things walking around? Could be, could be. Maybe, perhaps. No, it's not too hard to knock the player off torrent. Most things in the game have some way of knocking you off torrent pretty easily. Hey, get back here. You did your double hop. Somber 8. Hell yeah. Means we can really upgrade something. By the way, we're getting a lot of fire blossoms here. I don't know if we've ever looked at those, but let's do so. A half-ashen and smoldering flower that blooms on the mountaintops of the giants. Material used for crafting. Fertilized by the sparks from the forge at the peak, where burns the flame of ruin. That's right, despite this place being an icy, snowy mountaintop, you get these little flaming ashen flowers. because they're being fertilized by the flame. The flame of ruin. You know the one. Oh yeah, the flame. The flame of ruin. The flame that burns down the Erd tree. That flame of ruin. That's the flame, right? Millicent! Hello, we haven't talked to you in a while. We haven't seen you since the Altus Plateau. How goes your journey, ma'am?
To think we'd meet in such a place. What could your purpose possibly... No. I know well enough who you are. And what I know is good enough for me. Call upon me again, in battle, should you have the need. I'm searching for a fort to the north of the ruins. I heard the master of the fort was given a medallion that allowed him to visit the Halig tree. Indeed. I believe that is where Melania will be found. The Halig tree is hidden somewhere in these northern lands.
The Halig tree is hidden in these northern lands, she says. And that we can find the other half of the medallion. I don't know why she would be searching for it, considering we have one half of the medallion and she can't possibly have that half because we have it. But either way, she is trying to journey to Mikola's Halig tree. She believes that is where Melania resides. And she would be correct, because Melania and Mikola are intrinsically intertwined with each other, being twins and all.
I'm searching for a fort to... I heard the master of the fort.
So I guess she heard that he was given a full medallion. What she doesn't know is that he was given a half medallion, and she means this fort right up here, which we'll go to eventually. Yeah, okay. Let's double check my interactive map of the area. Oh, looks like not a whole lot for me to look at until I go to the next place of interest. As in, there's no major items to pick up. There might be like an upgrade material here and there. I don't have those active on my major map.
Do you hear me? It is I, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant?
Almost there. Castle Sol lies just off to the north, where the other medallion is housed. It will grant passage to the land of the Halig tree.
So, if you recall, Lieutenant is the Albinoric that we found imprisoned, essentially, by a bloodhound. And she agreed to join us on our journey in the form of spirit ashes, as long as we promised to make our way to the Halig tree, which we did. Because we were entrusted with one half of the medallion from the Albinoric town leader of the Albinoric village that was in Liurnia. She's been with us ever since and has not said a damn thing until just now, saying that Castle Sol lies to the north, and that is where we will find the other half of the medallion. And she's correct. I don't need to kill that guy. You get to live for now, sir. Spirit Ashes can speak. At the very least, she can speak. Doesn't necessarily mean all of them can. Oh, look, demi-humans. Aren't they cute? Bats. The bats and the demi-humans are warring with each other. Who do you think will win? Whoever wins, we lose. Shack of the Lofty, we get the Traveling Maiden set. Hood worn by traveling maidens. Maidens traverse the lands between for different reasons. Some to seek audience with the fingers, others to find the tarnished who they were destined to guide. Wonder, do they all say that? Looks like it. It's like the Finger Maiden robe, but with a little bit more cloak to it. And a little bit less ornate, a little bit less decoration to it because they're traveling. So they don't get to have things that are more fancy. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, right down there, right below us, is some important stuff. Problem is, we gotta get down there in the first place. And I don't think we can survive this fall. Also, I think they fixed the old glitch that we did in speedrunning where you would fall in a certain spot and then it would just let you respawn down there. Alright, anyway. What's that noise? Something big and zappy. Alright, ignoring that. We have Juno Hoslow, Knight of Blood's world to invade. As for weapon, I want different weapon. Our Uchi. Hello. Hoslow's Oath. Hey, the House of Hoslow. We know about the House of Hoslow, after all. Dialos, who is at the, currently, at the Volcano Manor, is of the House of Hoslow. The House of Hoslow. Its tale is written in blood, after all. So, this must be a family member of his. Oh, I didn't get that off? Damn. That actually did stupid amounts of damage, considering he is swinging some fucking whips at me. And I have big-ass armor on. Oh, he's got Bloodhound Step. Oh, boy. How come he barely lost health on that bleed? Again, these are just fucking whips. Why are his whips doing so much damage? Let me tell you, if I'm swinging around some whips like that, they ain't doing that much damage. Juno Hoslow, Knight of Blood, has been defeated. Maybe he has 80 dex, maybe he has 1,000 dex. We get Hoslow's Pedal Whip, Hoslow's Helm, Armor, Gauntlets, and Greaves. Hoslow's set. Like his entire set. Weapon in armor. So, actually, I think the whips are up here, aren't they? Let's take a peek at those, shall we? Up there it is. Metal whip formed of razor-sharp chain-link blades that have the appearance of flower petals. This work of art is handed down through the generations of the illustrious House Hoslow. High dexterity is required to wield this weapon, but it excels at inflicting devastating blood loss. The tale of House Hoslow is told in blood. I know it says high dexterity is required. It requires 20 dex. At this point in the game, even if you're not running a dex build, you probably have 20 dex just because of the requirements for other weapons. And it's only 55 blood loss build up. It's not that much. In fact, if we use its attacks... By the way, he had 2 of them. For some reason, we only get 1. How come we only get 1? Gee, Twitch chat, how come your mom lets you have 2 whips? Okay. Hoslow's helm. A twin-tailed silver helm decorated with flowery adornments, symbol of the head of the revered House of Hoslow. Juno Hoslow had a younger brother who was all talk and no trousers. His inability to commit to action was such that Juno inherited the Hoslow legacy without any resistance, granting him the freedom to shower his little brother with adoration. A member of House Hoslow that's all talk and no action? We know that guy. Yeah. A little insulting, but not wrong. Hoslow's armor. Garish silver armor decorated with red embellishments, passed down through the Hoslow family. When Juno Hoslow received an invitation to the Volcano Manor, he discreetly refused. I have already walked many a road drenched in blood, yet never would I consider myself a champion. Hoslow's gauntlets are going to say the same thing as his armor, and I think the greaves as well. Let's put his armor looks nice. We'll put his armor on for now. And truth can be quite rude. Damn. I mean, you're not wrong, but still. Anyway, I do believe that's everything we can find in the nearby left side here, unless we were to head over here to the fort. But we're going to go to that fort later. For now, the Mountains of the Giants are going to be put on the back burner, and instead we're going to head back to the Volcano Manor. After all, we have some unfinished business in the Volcano Manor, don't we?